Hi there, welcome back, and today we're working on week 4 of Dee Dee Farago's Don't Freak Out Before Christmas challenge, and we are doing some more pockets, another 3 pockets this week, and I have the first one here. This is 2 tags with a flip out, and they can be plain or decorated. As long as you can write on the back of them, it doesn't matter. So I've got a plain, on this one I've got a plain cream cardstock, so it's writable on both sides, and you can perhaps do a little print stamping or something on here. And then I've got this one, and I'm sure you can immediately see what journal I've got in mind for this this little pocket. And again, it's just plain on the background with another hinge. So they're both hinged. There's 2 hinges, so the hinges just need to be the same height as the tag up to the point where you cut it. So that one goes up to here, and then this one goes up to this bit here. So the sizes are whatever size of tags you're using, really. There is no real particular size on these, so I don't really need to give you measurements, because I'm sure you can find 2 tags that one is smaller than the other. So yeah, let's get started. So I've just found I had a pack of tags that I bought a while ago from an Etsy shop, and I hadn't used them all. So I thought I'd use these because I had these 2 sizes. I'd use these as my templates because they work perfectly together. But I don't want to use them because I want to keep them for future templates in case I need them. So I've been drawing round them to make my tags. And also, of course, I want to use Christmas paper instead of plain paper. So for the big tag, I have already gone ahead and drawn around the big tag. It was difficult to find a piece of paper that would actually look interesting, but it was also fairly plain on the back, and that's kind of plain. I know we've got some little parcels, but at least it's fairly plain and writable on the back, so I thought I'd use this because I really like this paper. So I'm just going to cut around this one. No, I'm not going to use those. I think I will use these scissors just because they're more comfortable to hold. There we are, that's a tag, it's really pretty. Cut that bit off. Okay. So that's our big tag, and that's how it looks on the back. So you can write on all of that. I just think it looks nice, it looks really pretty. And then for our small tag, I'm going to use my template, but I'm going to actually use some plain red cardstock instead of the cream, which I had thought about using, but I thought, well, Christmas red, it's got to be done, hasn't it, really? Some of the time. I haven't really used it for anything else, but I really fancied using some nice plain red. I had loads of scraps of red cardstock, and they were all different shades of red. Can you believe how many different shades of red there can be? Because I was going to use, I think I was looking for it for something else as well. I can't remember what I needed. I think I just had quite a lot of small pieces, and I know it's for one of the other pockets. That's what I was looking for it for. I just remembered. And then I thought it would work really well for this as well. Okay, so I'm just going to draw around this. And cut it out, of course. And do it just slightly inside the line of the pencil. Keep that in case I need it for something. You never know. So we have the 2 tags, and we also need something for the pocket on the front of this one. So I've got a scrap of the Christmas Greetings Stamperia paper, and did I write small pocket has to be 2 inches high and however wide the pocket is. So I will just mark the width and then cut it down to 2 inches high, which is probably not far off what it is anyway. Did I want, yes, the size I wanted. So I'm just checking. I want it to be just the blue. I don't want to have a bit of a line down the middle. And 2 inches. That's pretty much it. So I'm not going to bother cutting that down. It doesn't have to be exact. And then I just need to do little thumb notch. I better use my smaller circle, I think, circle punch for this, because it's only a little pocket. It's going to go there. So does that look about the same? Yeah, that's pretty close. Right, so now we need our hinges. That's all we need to do now. It's quite a reasonably straightforward pocket. So we need one hinge that's the same height as the tag. This one is a little taller, so I need to cut it down. And then this one is just plain cream cardstock. It needs to be the same height as the other tag. So I will cut it once I've glued it on. I'll just trim it off at the bottom. So I think I'll put the hinge on before. Oh, don't really want this label on here, do I? Good. It's telling me that's a bit of basil cardstock. I wonder what colour that was. No idea. Grenadine, I think. Anyway, so it's going to go on. Is that right? Let's go on that way. So it has to go on like that with the fold facing inwards. I think that's right. And then when you put it on, the fold will be on the edge. Okay. I'm always a little challenged by hinges sometimes, knowing which way they have to face. Right. Put it on there. I suppose I could have done my hinge with the red. That probably would have made more sense. I probably even had enough. Didn't I have enough cardstock to do that? Oh, maybe that's what I'll do actually. Oh, is it too late? It's too late. That's the only problem with dark glitter glue. It glues pretty fast. I didn't think of that until I was actually laying it down. I thought, oh, red would have looked better here, wouldn't it? Never mind. Too late now. And I'm going to just trim that off. And that will go, just pop it in the middle, something like that. Let's put this little tag on. I'm just going to ink around the top. I'm not inking around the red bits, that would look weird. But I just want to ink around the edges of this because it's so white on the edges. And then we'll pop this on. Okay, there we are. It's nice that there's the red berries in the paper so that it just picks up the red from the tag. So I like that. And I'll glue that on. And just realised that this bit here looks a bit skewy on the corner there. I don't know if it is on the other side, it's just the way it looks. It really doesn't look right. Let me just quickly try and straighten that up a bit. Yep, that's better. And we'll pop that kind of in the middle. There. Okay. And I will undoubtedly put some kind of embellishment on there, just some kind of decorative something or other on there. Okay, open that up. Could always cover this up with some pretty washi tape or something, which I may well do. And then we need to put the hinge, and then this will hinge onto your page with this hinge. So yeah, I want to put that hinge on this side here. So I'm just going to... So I've made this hinge, I think I made this a bit wider than the one for the smaller tag, just because it's anchoring down a larger tag, so I thought it needed to be just a little bit wider, maybe a bit too wide. But let's see. I think I'm going to stay with it. I want to give it a nice firm base. It goes that way, doesn't it? So I'll take it up to the top there, and that will hang on to the tape. Yep. Just figuring it out which side I need to glue. Glue onto that side and onto there. Whoop. It needs to go right up to the edge, otherwise it won't sit properly. Preferably not sticking out, but I can always perhaps bring in the fold a touch so it's not so visible. And it needs just a little snip across the bottom where it's just a little long here. I believe that fold needs to be brought in a touch because I've not lined it up very well. Maybe we'll just do a little bit of inking along that edge. So that's the first pocket for this week. Oh, sorry, knocked the camera there. Let me just check I haven't knocked it out of kilter. Nope, we're still about central. Good. So I don't think I need that little bit. Oh, you never know. I'll come in handy as a tab. Ooh, thinking about that. Maybe a little tab here. No, well, maybe. Another time. Right, so there we go. Pocket number 1. That's rather sweet, isn't it? And this is pocket number 2. So it's a pull out. So this is on the page as a side tuck. You can see there's the thumb notch there. Not terribly central, but that's where it is. So you can tuck things in here, and it'll be on the full height of the page, but on the side of the page. And then you've got lots of writing space, or writing and photographs. I think photographs from my point of view is what would go on here. And then you could do the same the other way as well. Loads of that. It end up quite a heavy thing, I think it could do. And this is only paper. I've got 120 GSM weight paper. So it's not as thin as copy paper, but it's not cardstock by any means. It is real. It is paper. It's nice paper, and that's how it works. And then you've just got this on here as just your tab to pull it out, but it's decorative. And Dee Dee, when she did hers, when she did the challenge, she actually just used plain cream cardstock, so it's all one colour, and just had her decorative piece on the front. I thought I'd actually take a piece from, make it decorative on both pieces. In fact, this bit is the bit I had a scrap, that was the thing. So I cut a piece off here to make my base, and what I cut off was this bit, so I used that for the tab. But for my Christmas one, I don't actually have a piece of suitable scrap, partly because I want to use some of my single-sided papers. This is a single-sided one, and I haven't really used it very much because it's single-sided. It's not so usable, so I thought, well, this one doesn't need you don't need any double-sided paper for this. So I'm going to start using some of these pieces. And I need, for this one, just let me turn my page in my book to get my sizes, but I think it's 3 inches wide and it's 8 inches high. So that's the size of this back piece. So that's my first thing to do, is to cut that down. To 3 inches. And there we go. 3 inches wide. Sorry, I can't help myself when I can't help making that silly noise when I do that. I don't know why. And it's 8 inches high. So it's the full height of well, it's a fraction under the full height of an A4 paper. Or if you've got A4 papers in, or whatever size papers you've got in your journal, it should fit. So that's that. And I'm going to just do a thumb notch in the side of that. Let's try and get a little bit more central, shall we? I'll just, just trying to do it by eye, but I always seem to get it slightly out. It's a bit better than my last attempt, I think. So let's just ink around it. Right, so that's the base, which is also the tuck. And then you need this piece of paper, which I have cut to 8 high, because obviously it's got to fit on here. And I've just shortened my bit because my pieces, being A4, are 11 3/4 long, and Dee Dee's papers were 11 inches long. And I didn't think to cut any off when I did this one, so I've got rather a wide tab here, and I had to cut a bit off as well. So I thought, well, I'll cut this down a bit. I haven't cut it down to 11. I think I've cut it down to 11 1/4. So I thought, well, I might as well have that little bit extra space, a little bit extra paper to play with, because it's just got to be accordion fold, but I always find these sort of things a little bit tricky, so we'll see how it goes. So just fold this up for the hinge. Doesn't need to be very wide, about 1/2 inch, to hinge it onto the base piece. Try and have a straight fold. Don't know if that's actually the case here. doesn't look right. It looks slightly narrower at this end. And if you don't have it the same, or you don't have it even, then it will affect the whole folding business. So as close as I can get. And then when you fold it up, you want to make sure it's less than the 3 inches of the width of the base. So I'm just going to put, because I've actually turned my mat over, so I'm on the centimetre side, which makes it very difficult to measure, because she always measures things in inches, and I like working in inches as well. My inches are on the back, but it was such a messy, the mat was just getting so mucky. I thought I'd use this side. So I will use my ruler, just to make sure I don't fold bigger than 3 inches. That's all. Have the ruler up the right way would be helpful. Yeah, I don't want to fold up more than 3 inches, which is here, so fold it. Doesn't have to be exact, I know, but okay, so I'll do it about here. Okay, so how far up is that? Yeah, it's just under the 3. And then you fold it back again. That's it. And then we've got the last piece, which goes about there. Oop, that's not straight. Oh dear. Okay. Well, made a terrible mess of doing that, but I am going to cover up this piece, so hopefully it won't notice that the folding is a bit all over the place, as long as it lies flat in the end. Okay, so still quite a wide. I could have cut off the full. In fact, I think I might just trim off just a little bit more. I could have made it down to 11 inches. I was just worried that my folding would mean I didn't have much of left for my final little flap. But as it turned out, I have plenty left. So yeah, so I would recommend cutting your paper if you're working with A4. Cut it down to 8 by 11 and it should work out nicely if you're having a go at doing these. So we glue that on. Well, I'll glue that on afterwards. First of all, I need to cover this piece. So I'm not going to use the same one, because I want to use a piece of this. Because I do have a scrap. I do have this as a scrap, and I think it goes quite nicely on here. Well, that's perfect, isn't it? I'll just cut by this gold strip. And that should fit on there really nicely. Is that going to fit? Nope. Sadly not. It's probably a bit too tall then. Okay. Let's try and sorry, just trying to get my trimmer flat, so I was just going to cut it just along the edge of that. Oh no, not on the outside edge, it's got to be there, isn't it? I always forget that my cutting line is here and not on the edge. That I'm so used to. I've had the trimmer I had for years, the cutting edge was right on the edge of this, on the edge of the ruler bit, and I still forget that sometimes, that this one doesn't do it that way. So I now need to, oh yeah, I need to cut it down, and simplest thing, turn it over and mark it. Or should I just cut it to 8 inches? Maybe that'd be more accurate. Oh, I don't know. Sometimes cutting things to size, I'm going to mark it anyway, just to make sure. 8 inches is actually just there. Times I've measured things and cut them to the size I've measured them at, and they're still wrong. Okay. So if I put it at 8 inches, which is there, is that where my line is? It is. Well, that's good. That's all right then. Put that over here for a moment. Okay. And we'll just pop it on. Right spot. Yep. Have I not quite got it right to the top? Oh well, it's pretty close. Let's see. I've got it sticking out just a little bit. I'm just going to have to trim off just a tiny bit where it's sticking out above beyond the fold a little bit. Right, now we need to do is glue this onto the background with the hinge. Seems to be all about the hinging these pockets, doesn't it? Don't think the next one's got hinges. Let's just do it, lining it up like that. Okay, and there we have it. Pocket number 2, pocket come flip out. And it just goes on the page like that, and it goes zoop, zoop. Yep, that's really nice. I might just ink along this edge. I'm not going to do all the inking because I think you could ink along all the folds if you so choose, which I may do. But right now I'm just going to ink along that edge where the join is. Okay, so that was the original. And this is my Christmas one. And again, there'll be more decorating to be done. So this is the final pocket. Made a bit of a mess of it because I think my wet wipe got on the card, so it went a bit wet and sort of shriveled a bit, but it's only a prototype, so I'm not going to worry about it. This is actually bigger than the size that Dee Dee made, and bigger than the size I'm going to make today, because I happen to have a piece of cardstock that was already folded. It was sitting in my pack, and as I haven't got a lot of cream cardstock left, because I've seemed to have used quite a lot for this challenge, I just thought I'd use it as it was rather than cutting off some just to make it smaller. And all it is, it's an over the page kind of a thing. So I'll take this. That was lurking around, more red cardstock, and you just pop it over here. I don't usually make things like this going over the page. I always wonder how much pressure it would put onto a piece of fairly thin paper. I don't know. But I thought I'd make it and just see whether I like it when I've done it. And then there's a pocket up here, and then on the other side it's the same thing. You've got a pocket here and another pocket up here, so it's 4 pockets, 4 little pockets, and it's hanging over the page. So yeah, this was really a scruffy old scrap of cardstock I've used here. So I'm going to use this for my pockets. That's why I was searching for enough red cardstock that I could make all 4 pockets. And I kept finding lots of small pieces, but none of them were the same red, which was a bit annoying. But I have finally found a piece, hopefully, that would be big enough. Is that the same colour as this? See, it's not even the same colour as the one I used before. So I couldn't even use that. So I'm hoping this is going to be enough. Anyway, so what we need is to cut some cardstock at 11 inches for the height, because that will be, so it was actually a piece of cardstock that way that Dee Dee used. She cut hers the long way, but then you fold it obviously that way, and the width is 3 inches, and mine is 4 inches, as I say, because that was the piece I happened to have. So I'm not going to use the plain cardstock again. I'm going to use this because I like it. It was in the I don't know which way up it's meant to go, but it's in the Christmas greetings backgrounds pad, Stamperia, of course. So I'm going to cut this down to, I'm going to cut a piece at 3 inches. So yes, I'm not really using scraps for much of this, but I'd rather use the pieces of paper that I think will work best for the particular pocket I'm making, and I didn't want it to be too fancy, too patterned on the other. I did want it a different colour on the other side, this one, so this is rather nice. In fact, I might even use this as the front, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll cut it down to 3 inches. So now we have a scrap we can use for other pockets or other things. And then 11 inches in length. So there's not much to cut off, just an inch at the end. And just going to fold this in half. I'm not going to score it. I don't think it needs to be scored. It's not super thick. Get the old bone folder. And then the small pockets need to be obviously 3 inches wide by 2 inches high. So I do hope I've got enough here. Let's see, I might be able to do my 3 inches this way. I used the other trimmer. It's because I've got smaller pieces, because I've got, yeah. So if I do that at 3 inches, and then cut 2 at 2 inches, I should have enough then for all 4 pockets. 1, 2, and then 3 inches again. And 2 inches. Again, I thought the plain red with these backgrounds would look really nice. Yeah, works really well, nice and Christmassy. So again, I'm just going to do 2 at a time, I think, and try and punch these in the middle. This is quite thick, this cardstock, so I'm hoping it will do 2. I need to use a bit of force. Yep. Right, so now I'm going to make sure I get the other 2 punched in the same place, I think. Open the window a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Or I might just mark it. That might be the simplest thing, mightn't it? Mark the middle of that one. So at least they should look similar. Right, let's do it. Okay, they flew everywhere. Right, so we've now got our 4 pockets. I'm just going to glue them on. Try and glue them on straight. And this one. The good thing about using plain cardstock for this is that you don't have to worry about them being directional, because it'd be very easy to cut the thumb notches at the wrong side and have them going on look upside down as you flip up the pocket, which I think is what I did on my other one. This way it doesn't really matter. It will never look upside down. Oh, I can see it sticking out just a tad on the side. So I'll just trim that a bit, I think. Dee Dee actually says in her video that sometimes it seems that different trimmers cut things slightly differently, even though you think you're cutting them at the same size. And that seems to be the case, because this definitely was cut a little wider than the 3 inches I was of the main pocket, wasn't it? So, right, let's see. Let's get this on. a little, whoop, a little high on this side. Get it right to the bottom. There we are. Alright, so then we have our over the page pocket. I think I'll just quickly ink around some bits of this, just along the sides. Right, there we go. Another 3 pockets. Done and dusted. So we're doing really well, getting quite a collection now, so that makes 12. I assumed that next week, Dee Dee was going to go on and start doing things to fill the pockets. As we've got 12 pockets, seems quite a few. I don't know how many. It's probably not as many as I would normally do in a journal. I'm not really sure. But anyway, she's talking about doing, instead of doing best of pockets, which is what these have been, sort of ones that have been popular, she's doing something a bit more freestyle. So I don't know whether she's going to make them up as she goes along. I'm not quite sure what she's going to do. So we'll see what happens next week. I might just do my own thing. I don't know. Do some pockets that I've done before that I like or something. I'm really not sure what we're going to do next week. So we'll wait and see. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Hope you're enjoying this. I'm just seeing that I've got something sticking at the top here. Sorry, I need to just trim this. It's bugging me. There. Sorry about that. Yeah, these are fun. I'm enjoying myself. And none of them are really too hard to do. So we're getting through them quite quickly, which is really nice. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.